Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here in the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here because God is concerned about that which concerns you. So you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here in the FijiWater.com sponsored studio every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, is brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery and you save money. This is Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji Water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature, it is untouched by man? It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just water, it's Fiji Water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our website at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here to address whatever topics are important to you and whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live, and we are RadioFreeNetwork.com. Click on radio, the drop box will appear. Click on the New Life link, and every broadcast will be available to you. So I'm going to make an announcement today. We had a meeting this morning, and we are going to be in October starting to work with our students to do Achievers Speaker Series. So you'll be able to tune in. We'll be talking to you about that and sharing with you. You'll be able to tune in to watch our students interview speakers and those who are celebrated, and they will do the interview live right here on the air in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers today by sharing that you were concerned, you were warned that you would be returning to the office. However, you're feeling anxious and you're feeling overwhelmed by returning to the office environment. You want to know what can you do to be more at peace. So this is a very interesting discussion because there's a lot of moving parts to what is going on as we come out of this pandemic. And I just want to share what we know to be a fact is that the pandemic is real. You know, there is a machine that is a media machine that says that, you know, the pandemic's not real, it's giving us a lot of conspiracy theories, but the reality is that the pandemic and the coronavirus does exist. Let me first and foremost say that. And the reason that we know that to be a fact is because we have seen our former president become ill with COVID. We've seen politicians become ill with COVID. We have seen people in the general public announce that they've had COVID. We have seen people dying from the coronavirus. And so we know that it's real. Now, we've taken the necessary precautions to make certain that we stay safe and well. So it was announced to mask and socially distance. And we've done those things. It's also been announced to get everyone vaccinated so that we can protect ourselves from the virus. Now, I understand that there are concerns about being back in the work environment. But you have to realize that if your company has mandated that you return to the office, the one thing that they have already stated, in most cases, they have already stated that they expect everyone who returns to the office environment to have proof of vaccination. And if they're not doing that, there are still methods. If they're saying that's, a free choice, or if they're saying that it's pushed out of date, one thing we need to know also is that there are ways of mitigating contact with others. Socially distancing, you may not be able to be 3 feet away, you may have to be 6 feet away. Masking does work. But I understand that there are people who are afraid of the vaccine. They have a fear of being vaccinated for whatever reason. But the reality is that there's a big picture here that we all have to recognize, and that is that you have a choice to make because you have the freedom of choice. But when you make that choice, you should take the safety and wellness of others into consideration. And that's what the vaccine is all about. The vaccine is about addressing a public health issue. The vaccines are safe, and for those that may have some concerns about, the vaccines, if you read the fine print, it will tell you how to mitigate those things, those concerns that you might have. But at the end of the day, it is either be vaccinated and remain well, or refuse vaccination and accept the possibility that you will die. You may not be one of those, but we have to come to the realization that those are our options. Now, having said that, the way that you make more peace about returning to the work environment is you've done your part. You didn't say this in your communication, but you're vaccinated, you're wearing a mask, you've done your part. And the rest you have to trust that your company has put protective measures in place to keep their employees safe and secure. And then you have to trust God. So I'm a firm believer and a big believer in trusting God. I'm not afraid of the virus. I'm not afraid of death because I know where I'm going. However, I also know that I can expect the protection of God if I do take the necessary steps to walk in His protection. And then at the same time, I have to think about others. What does it mean to others that I might come in contact with if I don't adhere to the measures that are in place and available? So we have to think about that. It's very interesting. Yesterday I was, and I know you're gonna say, Pastor, you have too much time on your hands. I was shopping for some specialty soaps, and one of the soaps was called Narcissus. And I said, I don't want that one, because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person who is only consumed with thoughts of myself, only consumed with my own greatness and not concerned about the greatness of others. So I am saying to everyone, do what you feel is right for you. But if you're going to think about the humanity of others, you will check with your physician and you will get vaccinated so that everyone can remain safe and well. In addition to that, I will say to you as you return to the office, just continue doing what you've been doing. Do the right thing and trust God to do the rest. We have to know that everyone has the right to make their own decisions. But if we're doing our part and concerned about the welfare of others, we will do what we can to get this behind us, this public health crisis behind us. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will place you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your husband has always bought clothing, jewelry, makeup for you that you do not like, and then recently stopped. He stopped buying them for you, and now you realize that you really miss the effort that he put into purchase items for you, that he thought would look good on you, that he thought would wear well on you, that he chose for you. Okay, so now you want to know, how do you get him to return to his practice of buying things for you? So there's an old adage that says you'll never miss drinking from the well until the well runs dry. So what happens, and I'm going to go into this a little further because you're not, I don't know if I should even weigh in on this component of trying to get him to return to his former practices. But let me walk you through that before I give you what you can do. You know, when someone's purchasing things for you that they think would look good on you, and let me go this far. When it's your spouse or your significant other, they're purchasing things for you that they would like to see you wear, they would like to see you enjoy, they would like to provide you with things that you wouldn't necessarily purchase for yourself. Not because they don't look good, but because you're just not going to do it. Because you're not self-consumed. So your husband was buying you, he would buy you clothing from time to time. And I'm not talking about, just lingerie. I'm talking about just items that he saw, that he thought would look good on you. In his opinion, they would look nice on you. And you wouldn't wear them. He would buy you jewelry that you didn't wear and buy you makeup that you could take or leave. you've got to understand something, and I've seen this before, and I'll use flowers as an example. When someone sends you flowers and you don't appreciate what they do for you, then they're going to stop. The effort stops. What's happened with your husband is, because you wouldn't wear the items, because you would complain about the items, you would not want to use the makeup, you wouldn't want to wear the jewelry, you didn't like his taste, you just wouldn't interact with him or be engaged in allowing him to choose those things for you. And what I mean by that is, you would always have something to say, a rebuttal. You would always, and then you just don't wear them or don't use them. Now you miss the effort that he put in, and you want him to start doing it again. He's not going to start doing it again. He's not. Men are not wired that way. Let me say this to all of our female viewers. Men are not wired that way. If our spouse or our significant other complains about something on a continuous basis, we will eventually stop or tune it out. We're wired to do that. That's the wiring of men. So he's not going to return to that process. What you can do, and I'm reluctant, as I said, to even give you this ammunition, because when we make a bed in the morning, we know at night we've got to get back in that bed. And there's that old adage, once you make your bed, you're the one that has to lie in it. So what you can do is, you could ask him to go to the store with you and simply ask him to pick something out. Pick out an outfit you'd like to see me wear. Pick out, help me pick out some makeup. Help me pick out some earrings. If you do that, he'll be engaged, but he's never going to go back to the routine that he was once in. That if he was in a store and he saw something you might like, he would buy it. Or let me rephrase that. If he was in a store and saw something he thought would look good on you, he would buy it. If he were online and saw something that popped up in an ad and he thought it might be nice for you, he would buy it. But he's not going to do that, because you're inevitably going to complain. So that's why he stopped. And you're not going to be able to engage him again in doing that unless it's you suggesting to him that he selects something for you. So what I want to say to everyone is, when someone does something nice for you, particularly a spouse or a significant other, when they do something nice for you because they want to do it, and what is the harm? I know you might say, it's different if he brought you a blonde wig and wanted you to wear a blonde wig. It would be different if he brought you something that was totally inappropriate in public to wear. That's a little different. But that's not it. That's not what we're dealing with here. It's just a matter of you being willing to try something that would be pleasing to your husband or your partner, your significant other. Just wearing something that you might not normally pick out for yourself, but he thinks that it looks good on you. Now you might say, well, I don't really care if he thinks it looks nice on me, it's not what I want. Well, then that's why you're going to be in the store buying it yourself. See, we've got to recognize what we're doing to to disrupt or enhance the quality of our lives. We have to know what we're doing. And if you're being resistant to allowing your spouse or your significant other to, as we say, bless you with something that they feel is going to be appropriate for you, they're going to shut down. There's just another method of a man shutting down. We're wired that way. We are going to shut down whenever we have an issue with someone not responding the way we would like them to respond. That's just who we are. That's who we are as men. And you would think that by now we'd have a better understanding of that and a better understanding of each other, but we don't. So it is what it is. So I say to you, if you really want him to put that effort in again, it will have to be that you decide to ask him to go to the mall with you to pick something out for you to wear. You know, to go with the mall to you or to a jewelry store with you to pick out some earrings, or to go to the store and pick out some makeup. Whatever it is, and however you would like him to be engaged, it's going to require you to do some work, which means just simply asking him to go with you to pick something out. Because when he was doing it himself, you weren't satisfied. And his goal was just to do something nice for you. Here's a problem. When we're not satisfied with what someone else does for us, they're going to stop doing it. There's just no other way to express that. They're going to stop because everyone wants to be appreciated. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. They have shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And the White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. If you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. They have home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated there appears to be a theme forming. I'm going to respond by saying this. There appears to be a theme forming for parents whose children have been dependent upon them as adults. Okay, so I want to respond to that theme that I've been seeing, because I'm hearing from a lot of parents who are in the boomer generation. You know, I'm of that generation myself, so I understand what that looks like. You and your husband are now both 67 years of age, and you have children who are 44, 42, 40, and 38. Wow. So, you know, it's amazing. You did a fine job. You have 4 children, and they're all 44 to 38. So you had a period of time where you all had small children and a group of small children. And then you've watched them grow, and you've raised them to understand what it means to be successful. You've raised them to understand now, you know, what's amazing to me is, you know, at 67, you both got married early. You've been married a long time. You got married early. You had, you know, right after college. You had a child when you both were 23. And now you're 67. So you've been doing this journey for 44 years with children. You want to do some things yourself, and that's okay. You've been supporting your children even as adults. That's okay too, to an extent. So let me tell you what that looks like. The one thing we don't want to do is enable our children. We want them to have a good quality of life. We want to be supportive of them in their endeavors. We want them to experience good success, and we want them to maximize that success. So both personally and professionally. Your concern now is that your children still depend on the two of you to do things that you don't want to do any longer. But here's the news flash. You get to choose. You're the parent. You get to choose what you want to do and what you do not want to do. You get to decide what you're going to do with your assets, your capital allocation. You get to decide how much of your time you're going to continue giving to your children now that they are 38 to 44, 44, 42, 40, and 38. You get to decide. These are not children any longer. These are grown adults that you get to decide how much you're going to continue to invest in them. You get to decide how much of your time you're going to give them and how much of your time you're going to give to yourself and how much of your capital you're going to allocate to do whatever it is that they might request of you. There's a cutoff point. So, you know, and your children have passed the cutoff point. They've passed it by a few years. Some of them several years. Because the reality is that, well, first of all, let me say this. If you can multiply your children's age times 2 and they are over eligibility to apply for Social Security by that multiplied factor, you've done it all. And what that means is, you know, 62, they're eligible for Social Security. So by the age of 31, now, because they're over 30 then, when they turn 31, you have you've done everything that you need